Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, Welcome back to another weekly portfolio review. Um, this is a new series that I started on my channel fairly recently. Um, and yeah, over the last couple of weeks that I've started doing this new series, um, I've showed you sort of the changes that's occurred on my portfolio through Wealthsimple and the buys and sells that I've made so far on my portfolio. In this video, there won't be much of a difference except you'll notice that there's been a few changes that I've made to my portfolio, especially some of the big portfolio, particularly my TFSA. Um, we'll get into it once we get to that section of the video. I'll explain what I mean by the changes that I made. um, yeah, so let's get started. As you can see, this week my portfolio is at 114,261.29. Contrary to what you would expect for my portfolio, which, if you look at my last video, it was sitting at 114,278 was what it was at. So there's a bit of a dip, and I'll explain sort of why that is and what I've learned as a result of the changes that I made. Inside my First Home Savings account, we're currently sitting at 8,048.15. Um, Again, I still have PSA in this portfolio, which is currently sitting at 50.13 today, um, which is roughly around what is at around this time, anyways. If you don't know what PSA is just another high interest savings account, as you can see on there. But instead of it being a savings account that you get through a bank, it's an ETF that gives you a significant return compared to what you would be getting inside many of the high interest savings accounts. This particular ETF, PSA, is currently yielding 5% 5% plus on average, um, which in many high interest savings accounts, many of them are maybe even giving you like 0.2, 0.1. If you're lucky, you might get 1% on what you've put in there, right? So this is why I prefer this particular route when it comes to investing and saving for my um, housing purchase. Um, Yeah, so there hasn't really been much changes. It's gone up all the way. I guess I've gained, in here it's saying I've gained about 14.40, which should be more. If you notice, there's been a bit of an increase since I last started this account. I invested 8,000 and I've gotten about 48.15 back on as as a return in that portfolio. So that is where that is sitting at. Let's go into my non-registered accounts. My non-registered accounts overall is currently sitting at 23,048.53. So what do I have in my first non-registered account? I currently hold cash ETF. This is another high interest savings ETF that's currently giving high returns. At the moment, it's currently sitting at 50.11. So currently going through its cycles. Um, so yeah. Right now you'll notice that it's saying that I have a total of 7,215.46. There's a bit of a reason for that. That is actually not supposed to be what I have as a cash ETF inside this portfolio. If you notice, last week I mentioned that I had started investing in HSAV, which is the Purpose Eye Interest Maximizer ETF, which is supposed to be more tax efficient, more. It's supposed to be similar to cash ETF, but more tax efficient, essentially. However, what I've realized over time after buying it is it doesn't behave anything like cash ETF. It behaves significantly different, right? It fluctuates quite a lot, and I'll show you that once I get into uh, once I get into my first home savings account. However, I sold my position in that account. You'll see that there's currently 5,000 11.23 in here. So I sold the position for HSAV, and that's the balance that you see here. Um, when I was trying to buy PSA back, which was the ETF that I held in here before buying HSAV, when I was trying to buy PSA back, I accidentally bought cash ETF, which was significantly which was significantly more than um, more than what I would have paid. So I was trying to sell it, but I couldn't sell the entire portion on Friday. So that's why you would see that there's still 7,200 and something. The balance should probably be cleared tomorrow, which if you're watching this on Sunday, um, this this is why that is. That's why you're seeing the 7,215 inside there. CSAV. This is my grocery emergency money, as I've mentioned in the past. CSAV is another high interest savings ETF. Um, currently at 50.15 today. Um, as you know, majority of what I invest in this portfolio is just high interest savings ETF, which doesn't quite fluctuate as much. If you've been studying the market recently, you'll notice that the market is kind of struggling. Um, it's kind of going through a turmoil with the war in Israel and Palestine, and the the unfinished war in Ukraine uh, and Russia. All of those are affecting the way the market is currently behaving. So I'm quite happy that I hadn't put any of these funds in the market at the moment. That they're actually sitting in a um, a very safe account where I can still have access to really good returns while I'm not taking significant risk. Because especially if you're saving for emergency purposes, you don't want to be taking significant risk. You want it to be something that you can easily have access to when you need it, right? You don't want to sell a stock um, that's currently in the down market when you need it, right? You need something that's steady, that can continue to give you a really good return, but also, maintain that security that you should be having. So that's where that is. This is very similar to high interest savings account. Um, this one is just another one held by another company. So they all behave very similar, except in this case, I'm using this to save towards my emergency purposes. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll notice that I've mentioned that, my goal is to get that particular fund all the way up to 20,000. If everything goes well, guys, within the next month, I'm hoping to either, have a house, buy a house already and move into it. But the crazy Calgary real estate market is kind of it's kind of causing a lot of problems. I'm not even gonna lie. I would rather have been able to buy and move into my new property by now, but unfortunately, I just haven't found anything that's within the price that I'm looking at or that I qualify for, and also meets my need, right? Many of what I'm finding nowadays are like very small condos that are like 500 square meters. I know it's just me. Most people would probably say, you don't need more than that, but unfortunately, I do. I want a space where I can also grow into, so I'm not gonna buy anything less than 700 square feet. Let me know if you agree with me, and that is generally where my non-registered account stands. Um, yeah. That is currently where my non-registered account is. Um, let's go on to the next one, which is my retirement ETF, RRSP, which is currently sitting at 6,531.64. This I don't mind, the fluctuation that you see here. That's perfectly fine because again, I don't need access to it anytime soon. I don't mind for it to fluctuate and for it to go down and go up with the markets. Ultimately, the market is always going to return a very good decent return if you're investing in a very good ETF. As I mentioned, I haven't added more to my XEQT purchases in this portfolio because I haven't received any dividends yet. Um, so that one is currently still sitting at 4,337.41, which is still fairly decent, right? Even though the market is down, I'm only down about not very much. I'm down maybe like 5.95. So that's nothing compared to what a lot of people are down in their position. VDY, this one continues to give me dividends on a monthly basis, so I'm quite happy with this portfolio. I'm quite happy with the dividends that I continue to receive on this position. Yeah, I'm very happy to continue to receive dividends in this position. Medexus Pharmaceutical. This one is quite down, right? It's currently, again, as I always say, be careful with something like this, Medexus Pharmaceutical, because most people shouldn't be buying this product, right? You shouldn't be buying it because it's technically considered like what do you call it? A stock, penny stock, right? You would be calling this a penny stock, but again, I'm very bullish on this particular fund. One of my friend from Blossom actually suggested that I maybe do a bit of a video on explaining why I'm so bullish on this product. So stay tuned for that. I will hopefully make that in a coming video. But yeah, this is one of the portfolio that I'm quite bullish about. I think it's gonna do really well in the long run. And of course, with the market being down, it's also down. Um, FEI, this particular position, I'm just not really impressed with it. The banking system is not doing very well at the moment. So, this is perhaps the time that I should be adding more money to it. But given that I don't plan on adding more money to my RRSP at this time, um, given that I don't plan on adding more money to my RRSP at this time, perhaps when I do get more dividends, I can reinvest it back into this position. But again, I'm just not too not too bullish about this particular portfolio, this particular position, which is reflected in the amount of shares that I owed of it, which is only four. Um, and yeah, that is my RRSP account. Now let's go into my TFSA. My TFSA is one that, if you've seen my previous video, you will be wondering why it's all the way down to 76,632, given that it was at 76,779 fairly recently. Um, the good thing is I've decided to make changes. I invested in HSAV last week, um, and realizing that that particular portfolio has a premium, which allows it to behave in a way that's not consistent with a regular save high interest savings account. It fluctuates quite a bit. Sometimes 1 minute it could be all the way at you know 109.32, and next minute it'll be at 108.95, right? So it's just a very roller coaster of a ride. And when you're trying to invest to buy a house, that's probably not a product that's you know good for that purpose. So I've decided um, to sell that position and reinvest back into my cash ETF. You can see that when I invested in HSAV, it was currently at 76,779, and then it went all the way down to 76,519 right here, and then it went all the way down to 76,533, and then finally back to 76,632. So I just decided that I don't really quite like the way it was behaving, so I sold that position and then buy back into my cash ETF, which is behaving exactly as I expected to be behaving, predictable, and the dividends the interest is given at the end of the month, and I can rely on that. Whereas in many of this other case, that's not necessarily the case. So hence why I have decided to reinvest back into my cash ETF. And yeah, that is the majority of my portfolio changes that I've made this month. I mean, this within the last week or so. Um, let's look at the activities. You can see that I continue to buy Medexus Pharmaceutical, right? Cash ETF, which is probably very similar to, which is probably my purchase of repurchase of the cash ETF after selling my HSAV. You can see that I bought more cash ETF here. HSAV, I sold my HSAV position. HSAV, cash fractional buy, cash limit buy, right? HSAV fractional sell. I sold it. And yeah, that is basically majority of what I've been buying and selling. You can see here I tried to buy. I was actually in this case able to buy PSA, on October 11. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and I always want to hear what you have to say about my portfolio. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, um, I'm always ready to hear them. That way I can make changes to my portfolio in this case. Um, I'm also looking at maybe doing another video particularly targeted at my RDSPs so you can see maybe how that portfolio is doing. I guess many of the challenges that I have with doing a video with that particular position is that, TD doesn't really protect many of the informations. Like your account information is very easily visible in there, and I'm not really sure how to hide and protect those kind of informations from public view. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to maybe show that portfolio, um, to keep my accounts continue to be safe and yeah. But yeah, just know that I am looking at that, and hopefully that would be coming up in the very near future. Thank you so much again for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Bye for now.